I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jesse.
We're Cannabis School. Having cannabis-infused conversations
with everyday people,
cannabis companies,
celebrities,
and your mom.
Welcome to the Sesh.
This really puts you in a good mood.
It really does.
Holy shit. Like, I feel great. Like, I feel fantastic. Like, you ever seen that thing with this kid who comes out of anesthesia? He's like, what's up? Wait, how's it going? No. It's pretty good. Or like that girl where she's got a popsicle. She's sung up. She goes, hey, Mom, check this out. Look what I could do. And she pushes it all the way to the back of her throat.
Oh, my gosh.
And her mom's like, that's great. And she goes, whatever, Mom. You have never done that before. Oh, my God, dude. I was like, what hilarious. The fuck? Like, oh, shit.
Have you ever gone under anesthesia?
Yeah.
What did you have? What happened?
So years ago when I worked at the state hospital, and you know, severe mental illness really is taxing on the body. And because of all the medications, look at me. Whatever. No, dude, like crazy. I mean, some of the shit that I mean, there's just so much. But anyways, there was this old guy. I used to call him Shaky Cheeks Dave. I always had a nickname for people.
Shaky Cheeks?
Shaky. Hold on. My mouth's all dry. You know what that reminds me of right now is our photo shoot that we had for our displays and shit like that and for the website. Like, we have this one where Brandon and I are standing back to back and Brandon's just smiling and I'm all like, hey.
I know.
I'm all slant because we got properly high in the garage real quick before we did the photo shoot. And it was great. We had such a good time.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I sent him to my mom, and my mom was like, what in the hell is up with that 80s? You standing behind that family photo, awkward family photos. And I was like, oh, the dog is the best one. Oh, my God,
yeah.
Because it's going to have over there, you know, Cannabis School podcast every Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So excited. It's like the funniest thing.
I want to use Scout more in some of our advertisements. Just like
Penny and
dude, like a dog face like this.
Dude, that'd be hilarious.
Oh, dude, that'd be funny as shit. Oh, yeah. No, I'm pleasantly high. Okay, what was I talking about? Shit.
I have no idea.
Well, I'll tell you, it's all about good vibes. And something I've been thinking about lately, and it's been kind of nice to see, but I'm seeing a lot of like people wanting to help other people regardless. I saw this really cool thing. Like, I'm always like, I have to have something in the background even if I'm working on something. And if it's not music, like I can't do this is the weird thing. I can't do music with words that I want to sing with. I can do like instrumental, like a lot of synth wave. Or I can be watching a video. I can have a video playing in the background. So most of the time,
is that for everything or just for certain things?
It's usually like when I'm in creativity mode.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because then you're trying to have your mind create and think. That's like I can do music with words and stuff when I'm doing certain things. But then when I'm doing other things, I have to listen to like classical music or synth or something else because I can't have that distracted. Yeah, that's a newly loaded.
Oh
no, that one's a newly loaded one.
I don't like
that one might be newly loaded. Maybe I loaded two,
so.
Or it could be a burnt one.
No, it's empty.
Oh crap! My bowl's been going.
Oh, dude, don't do that.
Oh, he's not. He's just about there.
Like.
He is quite toasted,
dude. I mean, you know what? And I'm going for bowl number 4 here. We're smoking on what is it called? Peach maraschino. Yeah, it makes me want to try the strains that they combine.
Peach rings and maraschino.
Yeah, I really want to try peach rings. Gosh, we need to get on the road. Start visiting dispensaries.
Well, 2025 will be the year for that.
Yeah, it definitely will.
Also, for everyone at home, 2025, we're actually looking for 25 guests for 2025. If there's someone in the cannabis space who has something cool, fun, exciting, like hit us up. Reach out. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, or if you're one of those OG veterans you're a veteran from the drug wars, would love to talk to you too. I think it'd be cool to get your years of experience and perspective. I mean, unless you're going to be like really upset and be like, fuck everybody, because I've heard those guys too, and I'm not a fan. I'm all about positive energy.
I realize that the best part about having a show is if someone comes on and that's literally what it is, we just wouldn't air the episode. We would literally go, hey, sorry, thanks for coming on, but it didn't benefit our audience.
We've only got rid of one episode. That's it.
I was actually thinking about it because one of the first ones in there is with Untitled. And Untitled doesn't actually even exist anymore.
Yeah, we should take
And
that
I was like,
episode.
oh yeah, we should actually go pull that one.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just as I was driving the other day. Because, I really was thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, we've never really pulled anything. There's never been anything that's like, oh, we should take that down, except for the one that we did choose to pull down.
This is a random thought. During my childhood, man, I got to do some really fun things, like building tree houses and building ramps. Did you ever build ramps? Oh. It's almost,
We're shortchanged today.
Dude, what's up with that?
Yeah. Dude, I loved building ramps and tree houses and forts down the street.
Playing
cul-de-sac.
guns.
Oh, Nerf gun wars and
Not
stuff.
even that. Like, I mean, we used to, it was like on your honor. And we just shoot
Yeah,
it.
those are
And we
fun,
didn't even
too.
have, because I lived in this poor neighborhood, these kids. And so whatever gun you could get, like it was there. If not, you just fucking made up one.
Yeah, it's a stick. It's
Yeah.
this. It's your finger. Bang, bang, bang. Like, anything you have is...
Then you got creative. We'd make like grenades from like pissing off my dad, taking duct tape and turning them into balls. We're like, grenade.
That's hilarious.
Dude, it was all day long, dude.
Yeah.
My parents they were both gone. The whole neighborhood was ran by children. There was no fucking parents, dude.
That's crazy.
Because they all worked. There was like one lady in the ward.
Huh.
She was right across the street from there. And she always had this like resting bitch face. She always looked so upset. And now I know why. I mean,
She was just home always.
yeah, she was probably just never had an orgasm.
Yeah. You know what's sad? Like, I realize that there's a lot of people in marriage who don't actually even, like, that the women don't know what that is. They don't have an orgasm. Like, how the fuck is that not... Like, we've talked about it. It's like a game.
I have to win.
It's like, oh, yeah, I want to push
have
that
to
button.
win.
Like, it's like pinball. Got to get that high score,
Yep, I have to win.
So, like, how does it not... Well, it's not taught.
That'd be kind of an awkward conversation, really. Hold on, boys. Do you know how to pleasure a woman?
No, but even, like...
Come on over. Let me show you how these things work.
Okay, so it's weird to think about it, but, like, you have a daughter. I have daughters. Don't you want it when they're older that sex, hopefully, is an enjoyable experience for them and not just a shitty experience that they're,
Oh, yeah. No, I know plenty of women who have had, like, nothing but an onslaught of just horrible men that they have hooked up with, and I just feel for them because it's just like, I mean, I don't know what was going through any of their heads, but it just feel bad. Just like, and how can you be excited about that, man? I mean, what's exciting about that? Like, all right, there's a warm towel over there on the counter. I'm going to sit down,
But, like,
watch reruns.
There was okay, so there's another podcast. It's Two Girls, One Blunt.
I'm so glad that you said blunt.
Yeah, Two Girls, One Blunt. And they had some post, and it was talking about, like, would you rather have a man who's good at sex or a man who's good at communicating? And either they're bad at communicating or they're bad at sex. And they're like, oh, I'd rather have the person who's bad at communicating all day long. Like, I'd rather have the person who's good at sex. Like, because how horrible would it be to live
Which is funny
constantly
because
without ever having
good
an orgasm
communication,
or...
good communication gets it because then you're able to have those conversations openly and honestly, which it's very taboo. Even for a lot of men, it's very taboo. I don't need no help.
Oh, yeah. Well, because who wants to talk about their struggles, their feelings, and go, I can't do it on my own? Because as a man, well, that makes you feel like a failure, right?
Well, and that's why, like, we have. I feel bad for that term of incel, where they're just they're
Involuntary celibate.
Yeah, that's like a horrible thing. I mean, and I mean, not every guy's gonna be 6 feet tall, making six figures. I mean, that's
Oh,
like an
yeah.
extremely
Super ripped, really good looking, full head of hair.
Dude, I saw one. There was this chick. She's big as shit, right? And she don't look anything special. She didn't even have a face of going like, if she lost a little weight, she'd be really hot. No, no, not at all. I mean, and the guy asked her, he's like, well, would you ever date a short guy? She goes, as long as he's rich. And he goes, what? And she's like, yeah, as long as he's rich. She goes, look at me. I mean, dude. And that's the thing that I hate, is that these people feel that they need to be something else to matter. There are so many people that could connect.
That's because we don't feel valuable as ourselves. Because we don't have self-love, and we don't have self-value, and we don't, so if we can't do that even for ourselves, how do we expect anyone else to? And allowing anyone else to? Because it's like, even, like a lot of our struggles, like how much of our stuff is in, maybe not your relationship. You guys have been together forever, but, a lot of other people who have baggage and damage from other relationships or their own personal issues they're bringing into it.
That's unavoidable.
Oh, yeah. But you guys have been together longer, so it might not be quite the same as someone who's, gone through a lot of breakups and that, and has been divorced and that,
I dated a lot.
Yeah,
when
you
I was
guys haven't
younger.
been divorced.
No, but
there's just a different, like, you guys might have a slightly different relationship or connection or fears or, things that come in because every relationship, every person has baggage,
Oh, totally. No, I mean, no one, you got scars. Everyone's got scars. Now, I think the thing that that's worked for us so well is that we're both really stubborn. And we both can't deal with long-term, like, angst. Like, I can't stay mad at her. Even if she did something where I was just really frustrated with, I'm just like, yeah, like, it's minutes, and I let it go.
Yeah, I don't like hanging on to it in general
No.
because usually I'm like, I notice
Never served me
usually
well.
when I'm angry, the other person isn't angry because I'm not wanting to sit there with them when I'm angry.
Yeah.
So then I'm what? I'm on my own, by myself, being angry. And who does that affect? Well, it doesn't affect the other people who's not around me. It affects me. And so then I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't feel as good because I'm angry, I'm frustrated, like all of that versus going like, if I step away from that, can I just step away from that and go, hey, right now, right here, this second, are you okay? Yeah, yes. Okay. All right, well, calm the fuck down. Like, you don't need to be stressed or frustrated or angry, and that doesn't always work. Like, this last week has been just way more stress added on that it's like, I feel like my mind hasn't been in its normal state,
Mm-hmm. No, I know, man. It's and it's difficult to be able to, because it's a lot of control. It's a lot of self-control. It's not easy to be able to keep yourself restraint and not emotional. It's so easy to just snap. It's funny. I got my son, Xander. He's had a pretty difficult life. He was a preemie. He had his tonsils out when he was 3.
Dang.
Because
That's
his
early.
adenoids and his tonsils, they had like a rating scale, and he was beyond the max. He didn't sleep. He couldn't sleep. His throat was so closed at night. So when we had the operation done, like, it was a lot of like, he was deprived of a lot of oxygen and stuff like that. And there was nothing we could do other than we were trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. We took him to the doctor and they're like, yeah, we need to schedule a consult. And so, but Xander's been a difficult kid to work with all growing up. He's 15 now, and he has struggled. He used to be super outgoing. Now he's just really receded in. And it's
kind
funny.
of hard to see that as a parent. Like your kid do that because, Finn and Addie, like they're very different than when they were super little and that. And even Addie, I'm finding out, she used to be my wild, crazy, super outgoing. She was like, oh, Dad, the other day she was like, Dad, I didn't cry in drama. I was like, you didn't cry in drama? What do you mean you didn't cry in drama? And I was like, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, no, I just, the first day I had to get up and do something in front of the class and I was so nervous and I started crying.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's...
No, you didn't know that.
No, I was like, I didn't know you were that terrified to be up and in front and like,
Yeah, because she's in her space. When she's in her space, it's her world. She can be her. But when she's out there, not around you, she's completely different.
Yeah. When she's home, she's Addie. She's just the same. Yeah. Then you get her out there and she's
chill,
reserved, quieter. Like she's
aware of her. She's aware of that. It's like Nick. Nick's aware of sometimes, and he feels bad too because he wants to be like his brother Xander, because Xander's very intelligent. He's got an engineering mind. I mean, dude, the kid will create these amazing things out of nothing, and he'll tell you how it works. And he's all into science. So I'm like, yeah, dude, do science. Then Nick's like, what do I do?
Whatever your heart desires.
Well, it's hard because he's, when you're autistic and you start learning more about being self-aware, and when they're a teenager, they're more self-aware. It's a really difficult time because they want to be like everybody else. But the cool thing, dude,
because growing up, everyone wants to be like everyone else because, like, oh well, I'm not cool. No one wants to be like me. This is a
bit different than cool.
I'm sure it is, but like they want to feel normal.
Well, and
what is truly normal?
Well, it's a big difference. I mean, and of course, if you're either not working with autism or you don't live with somebody with autism, it's really difficult. It's a very different perspective. But there's just something they can't pick up. A lot of things like emotions, they can't pick up tonality. They don't pick up the facial recognition of when someone's in distress. They teach them like smiling, like what different faces mean. They'll teach them because a lot of autism, they don't get that. And that's why they struggle in a lot of relationships. Like there's some very successful people with autism, but they all have struggled relationships. Like Elon Musk, he has autistic, and he struggles a lot. I mean, he's got like 15 kids. He's been married like 8 times. Like he's just too dedicated to what he's doing, and he just needs to find the person that's like, hey, cool, yeah, you could disappear for months on a time. We got this. And then when he shows up, like, hey, cool.
That would be so weird. Like a really weird relationship to disappear for months.
Well, the thing, too, with him is that he didn't have an upbringing that was fostering that because they didn't know. A lot of people just thought that they were just like retarded or something. I mean, you could have said I was autistic in high school just because I didn't give a shit. Like I really could care less. And all the hard classes, like I could take like science and I did great. Psychology, love psychology. Math, I was doing basic math all through high school because I was just like, they're like, he's just not getting it. I didn't care. I just didn't fucking care. So they put me in these classes with kids that I now know were all autistic. And they were bullied. They were teased. And they just wanted to have this life that they saw but could never get.
Yeah, they just wanted to feel like they fit in.
And that's what I love about like the school they go to. Like they're around other kids like that. And some of my other kids who don't have autism, I only have one son who has autism. Xander has a couple of like anxiety disorder stuff like that. But, and that's like him. It's hardcore real. But he's doing good now. He's doing really good. Like I've been working with him on understanding tonality and being able to bend reality. And he did it to his brother because Nick loves to swear as much as possible. And I'm not yelling. I mean, sometimes he takes it too far and I'm like, dude, seriously? Like, Who was the fucking controller? Who didn't fucking charge this fucking controller? And I'm like, calm
Yeah,
down.
calm down. Yeah.
It's a controller. There's
Right.
2 other ones. Don't be a dick. And but he was getting at Xander real pissed. And the last time this happened, Xander is pretty reserved. He doesn't swear very much unless he's mad. But if you piss him off, he is fucking strong, dude. My son Max rarely listens to this podcast, but he's quite a bit taller than me now. And he's not bigger than me, but he thinks because he's taller, he's going to be stronger. So
Yeah.
I had like a little impromptu jiu-jitsu match with my boys. They don't know jiu-jitsu, but I do. And Max was really trying, and it was easy. I was submitting this boy like everything out there. Xander, that kid's strong as a fucking ox. And I was wrestling a man. I was like, fuck.
That's crazy.
I had to try.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I haven't rolled for a long time, but it's muscle memory. And everything I try to do, dude, he'd power through it. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
he's just naturally strong. He doesn't do anything.
That's like Addie when she got bit by a dog in the face and they had to give her, they had to do stitches. It took 4 grown adults to hold her still. She was 6.
That's like Xander.
And I was like, holy shit, this kid is like super strong. Like she's just so
She didn't want him to give him their shot.
not well. She hated needles because she got when she was a baby, she would get croup. She got RSV. She was in the hospital almost like every year for croup.
Wow.
Because she was a preemie, and so her lungs weren't fully developed, and so she just
Yeah, Xander, he's got asthma.
Yep. She had a lot of issues when she was young. Now it's not as bad. Her allergies have all gone away of like all the other. She used to be allergic to dogs, like super allergic to dogs, and applesauce, like all sorts of stuff. And
Wow.
now she's not. Now all her allergies, like they went in and did a test, and she's not allergic to anything now. But like it was scary because she was in the hospital almost every year from it. And it was just so I can totally understand that, like, but they're just some of them are like crazy strong, and I can imagine Xander.
Dude, he's strong as shit. No, he got really pissed off because Nick kept pushing, and Nick loves to tease. That's another thing with autism. Sometimes they really like to be able to see the raw emotion. A lot of them love horror movies. They just can't get enough. Like Nick's like, I gotta watch that, and I'm like,
That's funny.
and he did it. We did
I
Stranger
used to love
Things with
horror
him.
movies.
Yeah, I just had me.
Now they're just like
I like suspenseful ones. Like
I like
there's a good
ones,
story.
but most of them are pretty shitty.
I like
and they're
Aliens. I don't
pretty
consider
dumb.
that horror.
Like, is in the horror part. I'm like, who would really do that? Why is this movie shouldn't even exist? Why is this a fucking movie?
Dude.
Like, that's what I feel like with half of the horror movies when I'm like, saw that coming. That wasn't scary. Like, who wrote this? You know, it's just, they're not great horror movies. It's like everything that happens is like, no one in their right mind would have logically done that. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing in this story makes sense.
Dude.
But yet it all unfolded this way. Okay, well, that's a horrible writer.
But
Like,
the modern horror ones, like, is sometimes they just get too caught up in trying to be like really innovative, like a Shyamalan movie or something.
That's
like a
true.
twist, like Midsummer. That was dumb.
It was dumb.
It was such a drag.
It was meh. But to me, that's like The Village or the other one. I thought that was dumb as shit too.
Oh, dude, the ending was so fucking stupid.
That's why I hated the movie. I'm like, this is.
Oh yeah, the plane.
Why do we even watch this?
Planes aren't even allowed to go. Oh, what?
Yeah.
What?
Where does this world exist, bro?
Yeah, seriously.
Like, you created this entire reality, but put it in this world, and like this is real. All of a sudden, okay, yeah, I'm
We
terrified.
did this to help us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so stupid.
But that's what I struggle with that aspect, but I love a good horror movie. Like one that actually feels like it could have been a real thing. Or, you're like, okay, this isn't every stupid decision was made that no one would have ever made, and this is why this story exists. Like, it's like, okay, that's a way better written story. Even like Emily and I went and saw Nosferatu, the new version.
Oh yeah.
That was interesting, but that's like a 1800s or 1900s.
How was it? Like, was it good?
It was good. It was kind of fucked, but like it was good.
Fucked.
Yeah, just like the story of it, the whole idea. And I'm like, what the hell? But I knew nothing about Nosferatu. I've never.
Oh yeah.
Never read the original or anything, so it was just very different. I was like, oh man, all right, well, but yeah.
Dude, they had what's funny is they had William Dafoe in that movie, and he was in a movie with Nosferatu, where he played Nosferatu. So and he plays like I know he plays like a Van Helsing type character from the lore of Dracula.
Okay,
where Van Helsing is this vampire hunter, and he goes after him. I mean, crazy stories. I mean, if you think back to like that day, like you think about Frankenstein, that's pretty fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Then they tried to redo it with Kenneth Branagh and Robert De Niro as Frankenstein. What the fuck? Like, you can't find any.
Yeah.
Frankenstein is not this short little Italian dude with the big nose.
Well, next time they're gonna have him played by Danny DeVito, so it's cool.
There we go. That'd actually be funny.
It would be funny. I would watch that one.
Hey, what are you doing? All right, you're just getting all upset.
Danny DeVito Frankenstein.
Yeah, with his little arms waving around like that guy doesn't have. He's just like a shoulder to wrist. That he doesn't have elbows.
When his hair's perfect because it already looks like he's been electrocuted.
Oh
so
my
it's
gosh.
like, yeah,
he's funny too. He's up there, man. I've been watching that guy for years.
I used to watch Always Sunny for a little bit.
Did you ever see Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No,
that's a funny movie, dude. It's so
him
dumb.
and Danny DeVito.
So here's the premise. There was I know. There was these scientists, and they wanted to see if they could create like a super person, right?
Okay.
Through genetics.
Yeah.
And so what they did is they combined like all of these different genetic types from different men.
Okay.
And they made a super sperm, right? Like a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But they were all the same type of sperm. So they, this is the 90s, so you could do whatever you want. Like,
yeah, exactly.
All you need is the CSI Kid Kit.
Yep.
And some
Spy Kid
rubber
shit.
cement to get high and think you're really doing it, right? So you're huffing glue and you're like, oh, let's do this shit. Like, fuck yeah.
Hop in your cardboard box.
Yeah.
90s.
Right? 90s. But like, so they put this baby batter goo together, right? And then they impregnate this one woman. She volunteers. So, it's like a turkey baster or something. I don't know. Like, this is the 90s again.
It's one of those shirt cannons.
Yeah. But,
all right, 3 should do.
yeah, 3. Got a good load. Cream pie. Anyways, but so she gets pregnant.
Okay.
But it ends up, she has twins. And the first one comes out, and it's this perfect specimen of a super healthy human.
Yeah.
And then there's this tiny little side effect.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay,
like
well,
Schmeagol as a baby.
yeah. So I mean, this is a comedy, but it's really dark overtone. Okay, so but they don't keep them together. Because the one who's perfect, they're like, oh, we're going to keep him on this island with these scientists, and we're going to give him everything in life. We're going to give him education. We're going to give him proper food. We're going to teach him how to be healthy. He's going to be able to survive. He's going to speak languages. It's going to be great. This other one, fuck that kid. Just put him in the system. He's going to get adopted, go from foster home to foster home. Like, that's the backstory.
Damn.
And they treat it like it's funny.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so one day, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who plays the big one, he goes, what do you mean I have a brother? And so he goes on this quest to find his brother. And he finds Danny DeVito, and he's a fucking con man. And it's funny because he's like a child.
Yeah.
Because he's never interacted with anybody.
Oh, shit.
And
Danny DeVito? Or?
No, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, my gosh.
And so, and when he meets him, he goes, "It's you, Vincent. You're my twin." And he goes, "Oh, of course you are. It's like I'm staring into a mirror." Right? It was super
Yeah,
funny, dude.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Man down.
luckily, it didn't spill. But it's this really ridiculous. And that's one of the things, too, man. It's nice is that if you get bored, one of the best things to do is just go through 90s movies because they're ridiculous.
My cousin's husband, the one who he has like a whole videography company for soccer.
Oh,
and stuff.
yeah.
He said he's just gone on because he's like, there's not really any good TV shows or things that are coming out. It's all just pretty much shit that's being produced.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, so I actually just have been on a binge of like 90s comedies.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's like, I've just been going through and watching every comedy
God,
from
the
the
Sandler
90s.
shit.
And I was like,
That.
oh, that's got to be like a blast. Because there's so many really good old, just random,
Dude,
like Groundhog's Day and shit. Like, there's just
hell yeah.
funny You're like, what is this? But
Bill Murray was funny as
he
shit,
was
dude.
funny.
Do you ever go back and watch like old shit like Stripes?
Probably, I don't think I've seen
It's like
Stripes.
early 80s. Oh, dude, it's funny. Old Ghostbusters.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a funny
funny
movie.
too.
There's this guy on YouTube that will do like these crazy like tables and shit, lots of rosin tables.
Yeah,
And they're insane. And
I
like
can imagine.
when he fucks up, you're like,
Oh,
but
that's gotta
how he
suck.
repairs it is so cool. Like the way the guy does it. There was another one I saw too of this guy who's teaching like more of ancient masonry, where they're doing like polygonal masonry,
How cool.
no
Yeah.
mortar, and it was really cool. And then they're like teaching people how to do it with chisels and hammers.
See, I thought of my coffee table in the front room is made from, I think it's dragon wood, and it's from, I think it
The
was,
penis of a dragon.
I think it came from South Africa or something.
Yes, that's where dragons usually
Yeah,
are.
there was some dude in Park City. He had a wood shop and he was closing it down, and so he was selling everything for like really cheap in comparison. And I got that slab for, I think it was like $200 just for that piece of wood.
Holy shit.
But I've actually thought about, they have really cool rosin tables, and I've thought of slicing it in half, turning it in so the raw edges are on the inside, and then doing like a rosin river with stuff in the middle.
Oh yeah.
But it's a whole project that I have. It's in my head, but not being done yet. So
Dude.
yeah, but one
That
day.
would be cool. That'd be cool. And then
One
get
day.
like those planing tables. You
Oh yeah.
ever use a lathe? A wood lathe?
I don't think so, actually.
Dude, when I was in high school, they still had that, and it was awesome.
Oh, I didn't do any of those because I got kicked out of Timpview early, and then I went to Leahona. So I had no
Oh, yeah.
actual like really cool extracurricular activities that I got to do.
Oh, I only did it was my sophomore year. I did that class, and you had to have like one big project, and I was obsessed with martial art. I mean, that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, I would love a girlfriend. That's all I thought about. But I'm
Yeah.
like, but if she gets in the way of kung fu, I mean,
Shh, there's the door.
yeah, we're just going to have a really strong conversation. But, no, I was obsessed with it, dude. And I made this wooden dummy. And when I studied lots of different kung fu styles use different things. But at the time when I was learning Wing Chun, I wanted to build a wooden dummy.
Yeah.
And I ended up fucking breaking that thing so quickly.
Just wasn't made from strong enough wood.
Well, it wasn't made the way that you're supposed to make it. Like,
Oh.
they would use, like, a lot of, like, there was no screws or anything.
Yeah.
And I just, like, drilled big old fucking holes and then used the lathe and made, like, these arms to be
To
able
go
to
through it
yeah,
and
and when I'm
stuff.
like hitting them with my forearms and doing all the movements, and I didn't have any, I had to tie it to a tree because my parents were tolerant of my martial arts training. They just got annoyed because what I would do, like, I was nuts, dude. We had an apple tree in the backyard, and my dad was like, oh, maybe one day you'll grow apples. Yeah, I never grew apples because I was fucking it up all the time. I had a heavy bag hanging from it, and when the heavy bag fell down over years of kicking it, I kicked the fucking tree because I got these combat boots with metal. Dude, the 90s action movies totally fucked up my perception of what I should be doing for training. They would do the dumbest shit.
Yes.
The dumbest shit. Hey, we're going to take your legs, we're going to pull it apart with ropes. And you know how many dude.
Oh,
Okay, there was this movie, Bloodsport. And even in Kickboxer, where Jean-Claude Van Damme, he's getting pulled by ropes on all of his limbs, but he's ultra flexible. So it's trying to make it look like this is how you make people flexible. You fucking torture them. And the Chinese are really good at torturing kids for their circus.
oh, dang.
So like Jackie Chan, when he was a little kid, he expressed interest in being an actor. So you have to go through this acting school, which is nothing but martial arts training and abuse. They beat the living shit out of these kids. And if you screwed up, you would get horrible torture. Like one of his friends, Sammo Hung, he had to stand on clay pots full of water and then put his arms out like this and balance clay pots of water on his, and he had to do that. Jeez. And if you dropped it, you got hit. And Jackie had talked about that when he was younger. He screwed up on something. He got hit in the face. He still has a scar to this day from it.
That's crazy.
I mean, they beat and then they would put your feet between like marble blocks and push you to the point where it just stretched you out. And you'd be screaming and they didn't care because they need to get you to a certain state. So that's why Jackie Chan could do all these flips because that's what, and they wanted it.
Yeah.
And he met some of his best friends in there. And that's where the whole Hong Kong cinema came from, was with these three guys. Huh. And yeah, but I used to think like that's the way you're supposed to train. Yeah. To make your body strong. We did one where my buddy, he was obsessed with Van Damme. Still is. Weird. Anyways, but he was like, let's do like blood sport type thing. And I'm like what? And he goes, well, here, you and I had this heavy bag underneath our deck, and I was holding onto the rope. And he goes, hold on the rope and then lower yourselves down. He's like, put your feet on my ankles and then lower yourself down to press my legs out so I can stretch, because we didn't have any money for these like cool stretch machines.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, all right, because this sounds like a good idea, right? And as I started to do that, he started screaming, too much.
Yeah, that would fucking hurt.
Dude, we did that though. Oh. Like I would kick and punch anything. Like, dude, I had 4x4 posts cemented into the ground, and I would kick it on my shins before training. So 50-50. 50-50. And now my kids, like, my son started playing around, and he kicked at me, and I tapped him.
Yeah.
And he crumpled.
Oh, yeah, because your fucking shins would be like rocks.
Yeah. And he just goes, oh, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Because I feel the skin. Yeah. And that'll sting, but the bone is still really strong.
Oh, it's so strong. Yeah.
So but dude, that's what I did to myself. And my parents were so annoyed with that. Because they wouldn't allow me to have anything. I had to make my own weapons. I learned how to do nunchucks by cutting up a fucking broom handle and putting rope, nailing it to there, and then I started practicing, dude.
Jeez.
I was obsessed with it. That's all I wanted to do. If I could see somebody do it, I'd practice it, and I could do it. So those movies were a big inspiration for me, dude. My dad used to take me out of school to go see the latest Jean-Claude Van Damme flick.
Oh, dang.
Like, it was the coolest thing my dad did.
My parents took me out of school when the nurse called them and told me I had to go home because I was too sick to be at school. Because my mom was like, no, you're good, go to school. It's the 90s. And, every year growing up, we had the attendance award. We never were late. We never missed school, like, ever.
Dude.
Yeah.
But your children will be good. That's it. Mach schnell.
But I think that's why so ingrained. It's like
999.
It's so ingrained into me of like, I always try to be on time. Like, it bothers me if I'm not on time.
I know.
Like, and it's just from like the youngest age that it was just, this is.
My parents tried with me. They really tried. I was like, no. But my parents weren't. I mean, my dad's ADD and my mom is all over the place. So.
Well, and my mom was always home. I didn't have a, latchkey kid.
Yeah, no. I mean, luckily. Yeah. That's one of the things that, when we had Max, my wife, she just says, I don't want somebody else raising our children. And I said, me neither. And she goes, I want to quit and stay home. And I'm like, I don't have the kind of job to do that. And she goes, we'll figure out a way. And I'm like, worth it to me. Like I literally said, I'm like, it could be a life of poverty. And she's like, I'm aware of that. She's like, but I want, and you know what? I'm so grateful that she did, because I've got really good kids. They're very loving, despite all the shit that goes on and it's in your house. But whenever I hear from other people, they're like, your kid's really respectful. Your kid's very, caring and kind and more considerate for others. Like, I've never had that where your kid's an asshole and he's picking on this other kid.
That's good.
My kids are all about, like, especially my twins, like they'll quarrel and fight with each other.
Yeah.
But anybody fucks with their family, he's just like, what'd you say?
Yeah, right?
Oh, dude.
Well, because it's different. It's always like siblings, you can fuck with each other. It's your family.
Yeah.
But the second someone else steps in, you're like, hey, no, shut up. You can't say that. Like,
no. Out of here.
Yeah.
You have not earned the right.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's cool, though, to see that. And, despite everything that goes on and all their iniquities and things that they think are iniquities, especially like my son Max, who's like, oh, what am I going to do with my life? I suck at school. And I'm not going to get. I said, stop listening to those people who tell you that. And he's like, well, I need to do something meaningful. And I'm like, you're fucking 17.
Yeah.
Don't worry, right? You just keep learning stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
Have a desire to learn stuff. Because it's the thing that sucks is our school system is very broken. It teaches you how to learn in a specific way.
Dude.
And if you don't learn in that specific way, it's really not the best way for you. And you can learn endless amounts of things even outside of that. And you never have to stop learning. It's just find what's interesting to you.
Well, and the bad thing for him is that it gets to the point where, and it just kind of goes to show that maybe education could get a little bit different if they run it this strict. But the school he goes to now, like, he got kicked out of his school. Like,
the one he's in now?
No, when he was going to Lehigh High.
Oh, yeah.
He got kicked out for attendance. And he's so far behind in his grades, in his credits. And he's like, it was not a big deal. And I'm like, dude, you're 17 credits behind and you're going to be a senior.
Yeah, you're going to be a super senior, bro?
And he's just like, so the last step is this school called Polaris. And this is literally like another 90s movie. Like, there was this movie called Dangerous Minds. They had that Coolio song, Gangster's Paradise.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows that song.
Yeah.
Right? But that was like the theme music for the movie. Like, got playing it. And you get the whitest white woman to come into the darkest part of the ghetto to teach these kids who could give a fuck. Right? Legit, this is what this school is like. Like, Max was, the first week, he's telling me, he's just like, I'm like, dude, how's school going? I can't be there. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, first day, I watched this kid get jumped and beat the shit out of in the hallway for no reason. I saw a kid beat up a teacher. He's like, I am terrified, Dad. I need to learn how to fight. And I'm like, no. That's not overnight. That's not overnight. And plus, you'd be better off just making friends with everybody.
I was like, the thing I've learned, I've never learned to fight, but I've learned I've never actually had to be, like, I've never had to deal with that. But it's because I was always more prone to, like, trying to make friends with people. And,
Yeah, I just had unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, well,
but I
kids
was
are assholes too.
But you know what, though? But I'm really good at violence too, so I was attracted to it. Like, I picked it up fast, and I enjoyed it because, as a child, you need praise. You need praise. You need to be told you're doing something good, not always when you're doing something wrong. And if you do something wrong, like one of the things that I've worked on really hard, and it was really easy because my parents would be pissed. Oh, when you spill that for? Oh, why'd you hurt yourself?
Making accidents.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Yeah, well, it was intentional, Mom. I really meant to do this.
Yeah, and I did those same things to my kids for a while. And when I had realized that I needed to make it what I was doing, now I make it a strong effort. Like, if something happens to them, like, hey, what's going on? Are you all right? You need help?
Yeah.
And kind of let them kind of dictate how it works.
Yeah, I've always tried to make it, because, kind of like your iPad thing when Max sat on it, it's trying to prioritize the people and not the stuff too. Of like,
It's just
Addie,
rented.
yeah, it was like, Addie dropped a bowl and it broke. I was like, it's fine. It's a bowl.
It's a bowl.
She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Honey, who cares? We've got more bowls. We can buy another bowl.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
It's
Are you cut? Are you bleeding? Like, no, well, you don't have shoes on, so let me carry you out of the kitchen. You go over here. I'm going to clean this up because I've got some shoes on, and, I don't have to worry about cutting my foot.
if they do something really fucking stupid, blatantly stupid, like they're doing something they think it's going to be a funny idea. Max has done that several times, and I'm like, don't do it, and he does it. I'm like, yeah, feel fucking smart now. Like, I mean, it's so irritating, but at the same time, it's like
being a kid.
Well, and it's really hard. We as parents, we want to protect our kids, but we want to make them strong. But we want to protect our kids. We want to make them strong,
Yeah.
and I've been really making them strong lately. Like, they are so dependent on their mom to do everything, and Steph's just been a mom for a really long time, so that's what she knows. And so I've been a little harder on my kids, and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm bored," and I'm like, "We'll go figure it out somewhere else. Don't sit by me."
Right? There's a million things to do.
Yeah, go do something.
Yeah.
You want to ask me to do something? Let's talk.
Right? Yeah. What do you want to do versus you want to do something? I don't know. What do you want to do? Like,
What do you want to eat?
yeah.
Right? That wonderful conversation you can have with your
Partner.
partner. Jeez.
I don't know. What do you want to eat? This. No, that doesn't sound good. How about this? No, that doesn't sound good. Well, what do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat?
That's why I love that
well-
video, dude. Like, I go, guess where we're going to eat. They're like, where? And I'm like, guess. You like it. And they're like, is it this place? Like, yep, we're going there. Fuck yeah. I haven't tried it on Steph, but I know if I did, she would
brilliant.
just glare at me going, just ask me what you want. That's funny, dude.
funny.
She's so compromising on food. I say I don't care, but I do.
It depends on the day. Like sometimes I'm not. Something doesn't sound good, but I'll still eat it.
Yeah.
Because it was how I grew up. This is what's for food. This is what's for dinner. This is what you're eating.
right.
So now, yeah, I have preferences, and some days I'm like, ooh, this sounds really good, but at the end of the day, as long as it's not sweet potatoes or pumpkin pie, I probably don't care.
I'm down with both. I'm down with both. Love sweet potatoes, dude. Like, I've had to change everything about my diet, and now I just like the sweets I get are apples and sweet potatoes.
I know sweet potatoes are supposed to be really good for you and stuff. I just
like it with
don't
butter.
Like the flavor.
No, I totally get it. I didn't like it for a really long time, but for me, it was more on the fuel side. When I was like really wanting to get into shape, I started thinking about what kind of fuel do I want to put in my body. And
Cocaine's so hard to get, so
Well,
it's
yeah.
like sweet potatoes.
Dude, every time I hear the word cocaine, there's this video online where this lady's like, this news lady, she's over this place where people are buying like lottery tickets. And she's like, blah, blah, blah. And they're going for blah, blah, blah million, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is what she's just describing when
Yeah.
she's there. And she gets this one guy, sir, if you were to win that, what would you spend it on? He goes, hookers and cocaine. She's like, she pulls it away.
Oh my gosh.
Or that one guy, the old guy, he comes over there and he goes, yeah, I need to fuck her right in the pussy. And then he runs off.
What?
Yeah, and this guy, and then they knew who he was because he would do this to him all the time when they were on air. And the guy was older too. That's what makes it even better. Like, he's got to be in his 50s. He was fucking
What?
retired. He's like, I'm gonna go fuck with the news.
Oh man.
And dude, it was hilarious because he had like, it was during Halloween. It was like a completely different one, and he's got this mask on, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this looks really scary." Yeah, and he goes, "You really want to see a scary face?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then he pulls down. He's got a hoodie on, and he pulls the mask off. When he comes up, he goes, "Fuck her right in the pussy." And then they're like, "Ah!" They get all mad. Oh, dude, it was classic.
That's wild.
Classic, dude. Oh.
Hey, we love you guys. Thanks for tuning in today. We have a bunch of Sesh episodes this year, looking for new guests and stuff.
Yeah.
If you have people or you are an exciting person to be on the show, reach out. Love to hear from you.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, kids.